Is it naive to see the good in the world? Well, if so, call me naive. For my whole life, basically, I've always been seen as like a little bit naive. I've been told several times that like I'm too nice, or too optimistic, or too positive all the time. And I'm also the one who thinks like being nice is the way to win in life.
Women always think I'm nice, but women don't want nice.
I believe in and want to see the best people win. I was even the kid who took all those assemblies and presentations when it came to not doing drugs and alcohol to heart. And that's probably part of the reason like why I never did those things. I used to think like it had to be the losers and the lowlifes who were the only ones who would get involved in those things.
Just because a person's a smoker, that doesn't mean he's not a human being.
It doesn't?
And so I was shocked to see that like basically everyone but me got involved in those things, and like even the athletes. And just to be clear, as I always say, I don't want this to come across like I'm judging anyone. I do what works for me and like you do what works for you. Anyways, I digress. Maybe this whole perspective and outlook on life sounds soft to some people, but honestly, it's been my superpower. And that's part of what makes me superhuman, I believe. So in today's episode, I want to expand on the benefits of staying naive and keeping that youthful optimism and curiosity about the world. So anyways, without further ado, let's dive deeper in now.
Give me a...
What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the Jared and James channel. I'm Jared Weiss. If you guys didn't know that, it must mean that you're not subscribed to the channel, so you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, be sure to leave a like, drop a comment, let me know your thoughts in the video. Follow me on every platform, and if you guys haven't done so already, make sure to check out my book, Fight Through It by Jared Weiss. All the links purchased on my website is jaredryanweiss.com. That's JAREDRYANWEISS.com. Buy the book, support me, and make sure to check out all the awesome shirts in there as well. Every shirt has been designed by me, every shirt is made of 100% organic cotton, so if any support at all, as I'm always saying, would be very much appreciated. So let's dive deeper now into optimism, like how staying naive helps me, and how I believe that doing so can help you guys more too. So to start things off, I realized recently that like I'm basically Walter from the movie Spies in Disguise. If you haven't seen the movie, quick recap. It's about like this one legit spy who's played or at least voiced by Will Smith, and he believes in like doing whatever it takes to wipe out the enemy, by any means necessary.
And while you're both looking all confused, trying to figure out what's going on, I'm just gonna knock you out.
But then you have Walter, who's a kid who's voice acted by Tom Holland, and he essentially believes in changing the world through kindness and spreading love. He's someone who always saw the world differently, and believed in doing things the unconventional way.
No one's even hurt.
Might be that kid Beckett.
Down, Walter!
You need to fly! I believe in you!
There's another way! Boy, don't you throw me off this roof!
His mom was a spy, and she always told him before she died that one day he was going to change the world.
But one day, your ideas, your gadgets are gonna keep the world safe.
A really good message if you ask me. So Walter creates all these spy gadgets that don't have to kill or hurt people, but can actually inspire people to be better, do better, or at the very least get criminals to not be able to move in less violent ways and like with less violent means.
This one can wrap you in an inflatable hug so no one can hurt you.
So he creates a hugging device and bubbles, and all these alternative ways to catch criminals, but ways that don't involve this massive show of force. Now taking this example into the real world, yes, I do understand like there's evil in the world.
There's evil afoot.
What evil?
There are people who do really bad things, and yes, these people do need to be punished for their actions. I may be naive, but like I'm not oblivious. I'm not just like, oh hey, let's let all the criminals out, and here, please take my wallet. But I've always thought, what if we can change the world with kindness? What if there is actually another way? I've seen it time and time again, that people believe that like in order to change the world, you need more force, more violence, more arguing, and more hatred and more division, as well as like more of imposing and encroaching your beliefs onto others. And this of course goes for all kinds and all groups of people. So don't think like I'm just referring to one group. But where has that actually gotten us?
Why don't you go to hell? No, you go to hell!
So as I see it, what if the actual answer is to kill them with kindness and more love? If we keep on trying all these methods that only lead to more negativity and more hatred, where does that get us in the end? Is there a time and place for more forceful methods of change? I suppose. But I would say that like the vast majority of the time, if we lead with love, we get better results. And it's like over the years I've been called gullible plenty of times, but as my nana likes to say, I'm not gullible, I'm just like overly trusting. And I think the reason for that is because I want to believe in the good and find the good so bad, so that's why sometimes like it leads to me giving my trust or imposing qualities like I want on people, when meanwhile the person who I'm referring to doesn't actually possess these great qualities. And yeah, I have been hurt by people, but I love living this way and having this belief system and outlook on life. I'd rather live this way than shut down my heart and believe that like everything has to be all negative. Now next up, I want to share some of my favorite lines coming from, as you may or may not know by now, one of my favorite music artists, Andy Grammer. So the song is called Naive. So in the song he goes, "Call me naive, but I believe you're going to be okay. And call me naive, but tomorrow will be better than today." Then he goes on to say, "If it's stupid to see the good in everything, Lord, please help me to be naive." Other lines in the song. He says, "If it's stupid to see the good in everything, and you could say I'm gullible and I'm blind to all the lies and tragedies, I just think we focus our time on the poison and not the remedy. So call me naive. Say I'm living in the world of make-believe, but I don't know any other way to be." So this basically describes me in a nutshell. And for any of you who know me personally, I'm sure like all of you could attest to this. You don't know how many times I've had people try to say to me, stop dreaming my big dreams, or to try to get me to accept like this is just how the world works, and this is just like how it has to be. The world is evil, it's a horrible place, it's all bad. Well, I believe ultimately it's what you make of it, and so much of it depends on what you're focusing on.
Why is Chubby here staring at me? Focusing.
And keep in mind, this is coming from someone who's been through so much with my whole life-threatening illness as well as like my whole healing journey, and as someone who's had to overcome so many challenges. So don't think like this is just me talking from my pedestal, looking down on all the peasants, and being like, oh, the world is beautiful for me, but like it sucks for all of you guys. Now I believe like seeing the world from this perspective is a blessing. You tell me that like I have to accept things as they are, and to focus on all the things that can go wrong. I choose to focus on the beauty of life and the beauty in the struggle. You choose to focus on all the horrible evil, and all the ways that things won't work out. I choose to see all the ways like I can achieve the impossible. Who do you think is more likely to be happy and achieve their goals? I don't need any statistics out there to show me the power of belief and believing in the good and how that leads to better results and like better outcomes. If you go into something saying, I'm never going to do it, I'm the worst.
Every decision I've ever made in my entire life has been wrong.
Today's going to suck, but like I go into it thinking, today's going to be amazing. Look at the world of opportunity out there. Yes, there might be all these bad people out there, but let me interact with all the right ones. There's all these reasons out there to be upset, and like, yes, I'm aware of them, but let me focus on the reasons to smile. Who do you think has a better shot of having a good day, and a good week, and a good year? You may not have control over everything that happens to you, and all the challenges that get thrown at you, but your attitude whenever life hits will determine your success and happiness on the other side of them. I've always seen having my different, naive, optimistic, positive way of looking at the world as my advantage. Fitting in, on the other hand, is the real neglecting of your potential. As the famous quote goes, some people see things as they are and say why, I see things as they could be and I say why not. And a prime example of my positive perspective in action is when it comes to how I go about covering sports as well as like news stories on my Rabbit Hole Roundup channel. So initially when I first started that podcast, I was trying to take the same news stories like everyone else was, and I was trying my best like to take all the positive stuff away from them in this effort to empower the listeners by understanding like all the ways like our power has been hidden through these conspiracies. But after reaching a certain point where I felt like I did my job, for the most part at least, and of course I am still proud of all that work I did, but I had this epiphany where it was like, who says that like these are the stories that I have to cover?
What's an epiphany?
Sudden realization of great truth.
When everyone else out there is looking at the evil in the world, and as I'm always saying, having an awareness of this stuff and all the agendas at play is good, and like that's one thing, but a hyperfixation on all those stories just honestly keeps us at that same low fear-based vibration, just from a different truth-based perspective. But when everyone else out there is covering only the negative stories, why can't I actually look for positive stories and positive posts to highlight? Maybe this could be my niche and part of how I change the world. How often do we hear people saying they want us to be in fear, and they only cover the most negative news stories all the time? We all know that by now. But how many people know that and then perpetuate it? So what if I do the opposite?
Then the opposite would have to be right.
And I can find positive motivational stories and posts and even talk about like my favorite music or favorite movies and some like fun pop culture talk. Then further, I took this into sports talk too. Being a lifelong athlete and sports fan, I decided to start talking pro sports in there too. But once again, I didn't want it to be the typical clickbait, crazy takes, and saying things like, this guy sucks, or fire this guy.
There is no way that LeBron James is already a first ballot Hall of Famer.
But why can't I try to be like the positive sports guy? And people have actually taken note of this, and have enjoyed it. Recently, I had someone comment telling me that, like, they don't even like sports, and yet they love hearing my sports takes. I also had someone comment telling me that they love my different way of covering sports, and how I do it from this whole different side, where I actually highlight all the positives. My goal is to highlight people doing the good, versus just only focusing on breaking down those who aren't playing good.
I don't want to see any laziness there, okay?
And this is also like the same way I've coached sports teams over the years. And the exact same reason why I've been asked to coach so many different kids who I had never even met before. And this is why so many of them see me as their favorite coach. But not only that, my methods have worked and I've gotten really great results for my teams. I'm all about constructive criticism and cheering people on, not just breaking down and tearing people apart for the sake of doing so. Once again, this is about changing the world in my own special way, and showing you guys that there is a different way out there. You just haven't explored it yet. You don't just have to accept this is the way it has to be. Furthermore, when it comes to speaking quote-unquote truth these days, some people out there take this as free reign to say whatever they want and whatever's on their minds.
You're getting heavy. Yeah, you look like you put on 10 pounds.
As I see it though, there's a difference between telling truth that helps people and is constructive versus just being a jerk. Telling the quote-unquote truth doesn't give you the right to go up to people and say you're fat, you're broke, or you're ugly. Doing that doesn't help people, or at least I don't see this as the best way, nor even a good way. So once again, there's always another way. Some of you may think, oh well, I guess you just can't handle the truth. You must be too weak-minded to handle the truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
But think about now, if the shoe were on the other foot, and you were the one who was overweight, in spite of trying so hard to make the changes, but you haven't had success in getting them to stick just yet. And this isn't me making excuses for those people, but I find that a lot of people out there aren't able to have compassion, where it becomes, as long as it's not me, then I don't care how my words make them feel. But now consider this method. I think when you show people their potential, you believe in them, you tell them how amazing they are and how amazing they could be, and sticking with the whole weight example, it's not about telling them they could be healthy at 500 pounds, but it's also not about shaming them or making them think that their self-worth comes from how they feel and you shouldn't be treating them any differently based on that. Rather, you can show them self-love and teach them how to value themselves, as well as model the change yourself. And as I've learned from reading Mel Robbins' book The Let Them Theory, people only change when they're ready to. You can't force it on them. You can plant the seeds and model the change, but you can't force someone to do it before they're ready. And most of the time, the reason that they haven't made the change yet isn't for the reason that you think. So do you want to be seen as a jerk who just makes people feel bad about themselves, thinking that you're doing the right thing? Or if you want to inspire true change, you model the change, you show them the importance of self-love, you give them love, you show them how to take good care of themselves, and you actually treat them with kindness and respect, and then maybe they'll actually want to take better care of themselves too, and they'll want to take on challenges. And then you can empower them with the tools to show them they can do it on their own. There's a whole viewpoint I see going around, which is the brute force method. And hey, maybe that does work for some people and in some cases, but I don't see this as the best way. And once again, if anything, it's most definitely not the only way. Now the final point I want to make in this video is that negativity isn't destiny. Why do so many of us just accept negativity is the way that things have to be? Why have we accepted that news has to be negative, and that content has to be divisive?
Why do we have to conform to what you want?
But this is the heart that I was blessed with, but I choose to change how I see the world. We can treat others how we want to be treated. What if we all did our best to find the good even in the gloomiest of situations? What if we respected people, even those who have different opinions? As I always say, I'm all for live and let live, as long as you're not hurting anyone, and as long as you don't impose your beliefs onto me, I'm not going to force mine onto you either. Now don't get me wrong, I do have some strong beliefs, but I believe that it's possible to promote something without tearing someone else down. It's one of the worst things I see when it comes to religion or diet culture or politics. Is so many people out there use it to say oh, this person's the worst for not believing what I do. And of course, unfortunately, that's the way that so many of these things are set up. They're all pitted against each other. But I'm just like, why can't you say what you believe without needing to tear those down who believe differently? Why can't we have vegans and carnivores coexisting? Or Christians, Jews, and Muslims, etc., etc.? If we just allow people, as long as they're not hurting anyone once again, to do their thing in peace, I think all of us would be better off. I live my life believing that anything is possible, and I think being delusional is the best way to be. Call me naive, but I think if all of us were a bit more naive, we'd actually achieve this goal of making the world a better place. If we saw ourselves and the potential for greatness, and saw the world as capable of being amazing and seeing it like as our oyster, I think so many more of us would be happier and more fulfilled in our lives. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys enjoyed the message. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel. I will catch you guys next time. Stay positive, stay hustling, stay grinding. Catch you next time. Peace.